Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the OK Grognard Show. It is Friday, July 3rd, 2020, 9:30 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Well, building adventures on Friday, virtual tabletop adventures, as is the norm for the day, since we're mostly gaming from home in virtual ways rather than getting together. There is some getting together. Certainly, if you're locked in with your family and your family are a bunch of gamers, you're getting some gaming in at the game table, and that's a good thing. I'm jealous, I'll say that. I will say that for sure. But, these adventures we build are with the idea that people can use them for virtual tabletop, but a lot of what we do is just plain old adventure building, so take the VTT with a grain of salt if you're looking for tips on building adventures. That's mainly what it's about, not necessarily for virtual tabletop, although that's the idea, and we'll certainly get into that in some parts. We're not taking pre-written adventures and then converting them to virtual tabletop adventures. That is worthy of doing. It's just not what we do. In any event, where are we at here? I was wearing a green shirt. One of the reasons we started a minute or two late was because when I went to do the test and check things out, I was nothing but a floating head here in this virtual world. My head was just floating there in front of the bookshelf. And, I thought, hey, this is kind of a cool look. And you could kind of barely see some text that was on the shirt. So that was kind of fuzzy showing up. But there was my big old floating head. And so I held off for a minute and I did a quick change to a different shirt. Wanted to be sure that the focus wasn't that. Hey, listen, not that long ago, as many of you know, I regularly support Dyson Logos through his Patreon, and as you know, I do that for the commercial maps primarily. It's cool seeing all the other stuff, and of course it's all inspirational, but I definitely collect all the commercial stuff I can and build it up. It's a bit of a backlog. At some point, I'm going to be retired and doing nothing but CMG stuff and writing and whatnot. And when I get to that point, I'm going to have a huge pile of maps and images and all the rest of that stuff that I've built up over the years. Now, certainly I'll put some stuff out between now and then. I just don't do it very frequently. And the long-term plan, though, is to have that stuff sorted out and ready so that I can dive in. Some might ask, well, why haven't you done that while you've been laid off from the game store? Well, I have been. I haven't been releasing anything. I've been writing. I've been working on stuff. But you got to also remember, I'm heading back to that game store at some point when it reopens. That at least is the plan. And in the meantime, I am collecting unemployment. I've earned it. And you don't leave money on the table. And one of the problems is, if I have any sort of income whatsoever in the interim, well, of course, I have to declare that, and I would. But that could knock that ship out of the water. I don't want to jeopardize what I have coming for what might be in this time when people are spending very little on things that are uncertain, luxury items and whatnot. Just doesn't make sense to put a whole lot of stuff out. Now, of course, I'm going to have some stuff at the ready for once we get to the other side of the uncertainty, which will be good because when I jumped in on managing this job at that point, it wasn't with a plan. It wasn't a something like, well, I'll start in 6 months, I'll start in a year, or this is what I'm going to do 2 years from now. So I hadn't built up any sort of backlog of things I could release easily while I was working. And working, you think it's going to be a cakewalk of a job, something you just go sit down and do easily and leave at the store when you go home. But let's be honest, if you want something to thrive, you have to put a lot more into it than people will expect. There's a lot of gamers that think they can just go open a game store and, well, with a gaming background, blah, blah, blah. No, it's a business. There's a lot to keep track of. There's a lot to stay on top of. It helps a lot to have a 45-year history in gaming and around the gaming industry in ways that other people don't, especially in areas that a lot of people have blind spots. It's good to know the history of gaming. It's good to be a gamer when you get into that position, but that isn't the half of it. It's a business, and you've got to do so much more than just know about games when you're running a game store. And if you want to do it well and you want it to be successful, you've got to do it a lot more than just a 40-hour work week. A lot more than just doing the job, leaving it there, and going home. Now, will things be different when I head back? Sure, it's going to be a different time when the store reopens. How things are going to work, how we interact with customers, how the game space gets utilized. It's going to be, until there's a vaccine, there's no getting back completely to normal. And even then, I think that the imprint that this health crisis has put on our lives is going to change our behavior going forward in ways that we're only beginning to see. So, we'll see how it goes. That's all in the future, though. And you know why we look forward to stuff in the future? Because it hasn't happened yet. And when it does, it does. Dyson maps are a great resource, says LexFire22. Welcome to the chat there, buddy. Need good business acumen? The gaming background helps with customer interaction. No doubt about it. No doubt about it, LexFire. Thanks for those messages earlier. That was a really cool image of the terrain that you had put together. I really like that. Yeah, the Jenga blocks idea. I was telling LexFire22 about using Jenga blocks as walls on a battle mat as a way of quickly putting together rooms, putting hallways, walls, whatever. I'd seen somebody else using blocks, and they weren't using Jenga blocks, but Jenga was all the rage in the 80s and early 90s. And then in the 90s, I would find, because I'm a guy who, when I have the time, will pop in a garage sale or a lawn sale and have a look and see what they got going, because I'll tell you, you'll find a lot of cool old games that way, and if they're complete, I mean, sure, you can snipe value from people that don't know what they have, but that's not really my intention, is finding cool things. Now, fair enough, value is value, and if you've got a Jenga set and there's a block missing because the dog got a hold of it and chewed it up, and now you've got a Jenga set with one less block, and you're selling it at a garage sale, well, you're not selling that as a full Jenga set, right? And when Sunday rolls around and you have a choice to take it back inside or dump it for 50 cents or $1, well, that's usually what happens. And so if you happen to see a used Jenga set at a garage sale or a flea market or something, and there's a missing piece, grab it. Spray paint them all gray, do a little brick pattern on them, little stone pattern of some kind, and use them on the game table. They're a quick and easy way of making walls and rooms, and just leave a gap for a door or turn one up on its side, or heck, if there's a missing piece from the box and you want to carry them around in that box, which is, why wouldn't you? Once you've had them painted up, put them back in the box and use that as a way of storing and carrying them. If there was a missing piece, there's certainly a room in there for a couple of doors or portcullis or whatever else you want to throw in there. And hey, those are pretty flat, and sure, you'll need a stand for them, but you have ways you could fit those in a box too, even if you don't have a missing piece. So, ready-made dungeon blocks set is your old abandoned Jenga set, right? Love Australia. Thanks, Heath. Heath sent me that along with some other things some time ago. I've got some things for Tom and Shane and Wendy and them from Heath that I got in the mail just before everything shut down. And it's in my locker at work, which I don't have access to. So till we open back up, there's a lot of little doodads for... I think actually I got something to Shane before everything went sideways. But man, that was crazy. Anywho, we're looking at this cool map. This came out several weeks ago. Several? At least a couple. Anyway, it's one of his commercial license Creative Commons maps that anyone can use, and even for a commercial product. It's kind of neat. At first, when I looked at it, I got a little confused. If you read on his blog, he kind of describes what's going on with it. But I figured it out before I actually read that. The way in is here. It goes pretty deep. Double stairs, right? Going down to a great hall that's infested with fungi, it would appear, right? Lots of mushrooms, mushroom caps, toadstools, whatever. So these stairs, as you can tell, actually go up. So this is a second floor that's above this floor with an open area over top of this great hall. There was definitely a pool here, and then for this sort of stuff, yeah, Lexfire 22 for sure. I read what was going on with this in his estimation, and his idea was if you send people in here after some quote-unquote MacGuffin, the obvious place to put it is up over on the left here in this open, this little alcove in this one room. It makes it tricky to get to it. You either got to climb up figure out some way to fly or float across, right? Or you can battle your way all the way through. If you can get up to the second level, obviously, if you go up this way, you're kind of, you can climb across, right? If you go up this way, you can go down here, go this way, work your way through a bunch of rooms, come out, and then make your way over there. So it's a bit of a long way around. You can go this way. If there's stuff you got to avoid, zip through that way in the secret door area and never have to come out to here and then make your way around. Here you'll have to chance it. No way from there to there without going out onto the walkway. All that's open to below. So we're looking at some pretty nifty adventuring. I like these little nodules on either side. Now what he said was this was like a well doubled as a water source and also was some sort of a temple, whatever, and it broke. So it's got some... Not seeing the cursor? Okay. Well, we're looking at the pool, lower right. That is a semicircle with a broken hole in it with a stream coming out now into the room. Wonder if I'm over here if you can see it. Yeah, there we go. So if I have this on the other side, it makes it tough to see. Now, can I make this smaller without... No, it makes the whole window smaller. Okay, so there's no way around that. Alright, in any event, there's the cursor, and I can cover that up so I can still see the chat. Hey, Red Barn. Oop, what's going on there? There we go. Alright, so down here we got this, pool that has a broken side to it. It's not a fountain per se, but it is a water source. Here's a neat little thing in the lower right. There's that side cave off of the stream. Kind of reminiscent of the monastery dungeon in the DMG, which has a stream that you can go into. Skull and Pants, good to see you. Haven't seen you for a bit. Let me just double check my drawing list while I have you guys in here. Skull and Pants, I got you in earlier this week. Good. Lex Fire and, of course, Grail Knight showing up. What's up, buddy? I didn't have you in this week yet. Here, let me add you to our wonderful little drawing list. A lot of people in this week. I think the early Harryhausen stuff got us a good start on the week. Red Barn, I got you in there already. You're all set. We're all climbing out of the woodwork today. Yeah, how about that? We got 5 people chatting in here. Get out. 6 with me, I guess. I guess 10's actually one of those milestone things that you can hit on the channel. Not that it, makes a whole lot of difference for what I do, but I've seen it, so I know it exists. If you get 10 people actually chatting all at once, it helps boost the channel, gives it an attaboy, pat on the skull. Anyhow, let me get back to this map here. So what I was saying earlier was this stairway goes up to a sort of a dead end unless you can climb across. This other stairway on the other side goes up, and then you're able to, or rather you go this way, you go up, and then from there you can walk across this catwalk and then make your way around and back out and back in. And here is that MacGuffin idea area, whatever, that little alcove where something is. whether it's a little statuette or a button you got to push or a lever that does something. Who knows, but there you go. You can avoid this catwalk through the secret doors that are here. This looks almost like a sort of a library or something, a couple of big bookshelves or something. So too here you've got some shelves. This this kind of section over here, I don't know. What do you think? Any ideas on this? If this was meant to be a shrine or a temple of some sort, with a pool down at the far end of the lower level, then you would think that you might have some sort of kitchen or something. This might be a reception area, so too this. This could be a place for supplies for a sort of kitchen area. We got a fresh water source over there, which would be useful for that. Tapping into it might be why you built this room that long, to try to make it over to the water source that you already knew was there, because you've got the pool. Up top side, this might be a library and a number of rooms that lead to maybe the chambers for a high priest or something like that. Don't forget, this used to come across, so you can get to the shrine area. Originally you could from either side. Nice that the high priest has access to it directly, but others would need separate access. If we've got some areas like this that we could say were guard rooms or something like that. Statue could be a prayer meditation area, says Lexfire. Good call. All kinds of options. You can add a secret door and lead to another Dyson map. Sure, absolutely. You could connect all bunches of maps together. Red barns were all climbing out. Oh, yeah. I already read that. Gotcha. The fungus hall maps. Yep, that's what he calls it. His Kraken, release the Kraken Infested Hall. So, looks like a pond area or a creek. Yep, there you go. And I'm just scrolling back up to make sure I didn't miss anything. There we go. Okay, I think we got everything that people mentioned so far. Good. So these are different ways you can use these rooms. Sometimes I wonder, when you have secret door passages like this, does it make sense that they are just there? Are they specifically there to be used by anyone in particular? Obviously, all of these areas that the secret passage accesses can be accessed by normal means, so there are no secret rooms beyond the secret passages. So that's worth noting as far as this map is concerned, to keep yourself in the right headspace for how you're going to use it and what you're going to say about it and how you're going to create an adventure within it. So all of that is true. I don't know. I think we're about there. I like this. Like I say, this one in the middle, upper left of the lower level of the fungus level. I like this as a sort of a staging area for anybody who's interested in going up topside. Right? It's almost like a reception area where you have to sign in or you'll have to get clearance to then have access to the upper level. Right? I would think you would need that on both sides. So maybe you've got something stopping people from going this way. And now I'm talking about how it would have been used originally before it was attacked and destroyed or sacked or whatever it was that Dyson had said on his blog. And obviously, because it has fallen into disrepair, it is either abandoned or sacked or I was going to say has fallen on hard times, but that could be part of why it's abandoned. There could have been a natural disaster like an earthquake that brought down some of it and then caused this infestation to break out because of cracks in it that allowed some fungus inside to then take hold. But that would have been an abandonment issue. But again, if somebody came through and destroyed it, sacked it, attacked it, and then left no one, but then didn't occupy it and just abandoned it themselves as well, that could explain what happened, what has happened here that has allowed this infestation to take over. Note the rubble, right? That is from this upper level catwalk that's on the left, this rubble that's in the lower level map in the big hall. Got some circles over here. I wonder if those are old barrels or something like that. Water flow, I think we've got to assume that the stream is flowing in this direction, because otherwise when this broke it needs to flow outward, right? And then it's seeping down into the ground over on this side, right? At its far end, because this didn't break and now stuff's seeping into the pool from out here. So I think we have to assume this goes this way. I think we also have to assume that it's a slow flowing stream and there's some sort of well underneath this pool here, out which water was originally flowing, because if this has been flowing all this time, it has to go somewhere. If it came into this in the past, it would have to be flowing out of this as well, and it wasn't doing this before. So there must be a hole or a well or something, and perhaps that got clogged up or stopped up or something, and maybe there's something underneath this water that flows out into the room. Maybe this is eaten away at the ground, or it's broken away or fallen away, or there's some sort of sinkhole that this is falling into now, or filled up. And maybe there's something underneath this water that if you clear out the stoppage in the pool, would then allow the water to flow out that way and would dry this up, and you'd find whatever it is that's under here. Maybe this extra moisture, and I'm not sure how that works for fungus, if they thrive in a, I think mold thrives in a environment that has condensation and such. So maybe this is true of fungus like this as well. I don't know for sure. I would have to check that out. But maybe it's because of this that we have this sort of infestation doing so well. It certainly seems to follow the pattern, right, of the water. Anyway, we're just about there. So let's leave it at that. Let's say thank you very much to everybody who has joined us today, jumped in the chat, followed the channel, and all the rest of that stuff. So grateful that you guys do that for me and stop by and help keep me sane during this time of isolation. Pretty cool Dyson Logos Infestation Dungeon map. Got that OS zine coming up. Still working on that behind the scenes. Got that cool John Denton Batten, is that it? John D. Batten, off the top of my head, cover for it that we'll get some more going on it pretty soon. Maybe we'll reveal a few things that we've been working on. I've been doing some things with that Pro system from yesterday that we talked about. That's kind of neat. Don't forget the rest of the schedule. Tomorrow we'll be getting up Conan the Animated Series Episode 5 and doing a DM Perspective review on it. And then Sunday we'll do the rules retrospective. Haven't decided exactly what we're going to do with that yet. Still giving it some thought. Weekly news and giveaway Monday. Cartography world building Tuesday. Campaign discussion on Wednesday. Crafting and painting on Thursday. Back round to adventures on Friday. Want to thank everybody again who's here following the channel. If you're catching up with us on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and give us a little like and a comment if you like. I appreciate it. Thank you again, everybody. Stay safe this weekend. If I don't see you or hear from you, be good, be healthy, have fun, make the most of it, and we will catch you on the other side. Thanks. Bye-bye.